So I recently bought a bunch of yarn from Love Crafts, and it was on super sale because it was discontinued. So one of the projects that I'm making with that yarn that I bought is, I think I'm just addicted to sales. As I pull out this bag that I got from Nespresso. I have an espresso. I only ever buy Nespressos when they're doing like a buy this many sleeves and you'll get a free cup or a free bag or free chocolates or something. And so I have a lot of Nespresso. I have like 2 Nespresso tote bags and like 6 different espresso cups, and then some like cappuccino cups, and they're all because they were on sale. They were like included as a gift. So one of the yarns I bought was this Cloudborn. I think it's called Alpaca Highland Naturals. And it was on super sale. I'm actually gonna look it up right now and tell you how much on sale it was. Because it just seems that, I don't know why. I think it's maybe because we were poor when I was little that I just will only buy things. So I bought 11 skeins of this for $40. And I think original price, it was a lot more. I don't remember. I think they were like, I don't know, I should really just look it up. Let me see. Yeah, it's just this obsession with like getting a good deal, getting things on sale, which is part of why that Jimmy cardigan took me so long, because I bought something that was on sale and discontinued, so I couldn't buy more of it when I was out. So now I just buy a ton of it. Okay. This part, maybe I'll edit. Maybe not. I don't know. Anyways, so I bought 11 skeins in this graphite heather, and then I also bought stone heather. And so my current work in progress as I type. Okay, let's see. I need to organize these better. Or maybe I can stop buying yarn so much and I wouldn't have this problem. We got your order. Here we go. Okay. So this yarn, original. Oh, it doesn't even have the original price on here. Well, that's not helpful. Anyways, okay. So I'm currently making this, the Anker sweater. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it. Anker. I got the pattern for the men's, so I'm making this for my husband, but obviously if he doesn't like it, it's mine. So it has this cool rib up top, and then it's just stockinette. I was wondering, you know, she has a pattern for women's and men's. Is the men's just bigger and longer? I can't tell from the description. It just seems like the men's one is bigger, like wider, bigger chest circumference and longer. So I'm wondering if I could just use the same pattern and make myself one. I don't know. These are my thoughts. So I'm working on that. And then I'm also working on, oh, this project is like killing me. Not the fault of the pattern, just the fault of my own brain. It is and this is all I have. It is the Robinia Sweater. In my head, it's Robina, but I know there's an extra I, so Robinia Sweater, by Ann Betzel. She's doing a knit along right now, and I'm trying to knit along. So I'm doing it in, this is Caron Simply Soft, held double, and then this burgundy is another yarn I bought on sale. It is the Cascade yarn Baby Llama Chunky, which was also super on sale. So I got 11 skeins of this burgundy for $87.90. It's super soft. I bought actually a couple different colorways. So the issue, my issue with the pattern, one, I printed out the pattern on a black and white printer, and I printed it 2 pages per sheet, so I was trying to save paper. And so it's a little hard to read. The first time I did it, so there's like, it's a part in the pattern where it goes from stockinette, I'm trying to focus on my face, goes from stockinette to this like kind of rib. I misread the pattern and I continued the rib into the color scallop part, which it doesn't, it's just the top. And so I'd gotten pretty far, like maybe like finished with one full scallop, and realized my mistake, frogged it, started it again, did the whole front yoke. No, what happened? No, the first time I made it, I didn't do the rib, got to one scallop, realized I didn't do the rib, took it out, restarted, did the scallop, did the rib, but did it way too far into the first scallop. Didn't realize it until I got the front yoke finished and part of the started on the back yoke, and then I was like, wait a minute, because on the back yoke for some reason I realized that the scallop was only like 2 rows, or not the scallop, the rib was only 2 rows, and I was like, oh shoot. So then I frogged the whole thing, restarted, and then last night I was like, oh yay, I've caught up, I'm on the back, I've done the front yoke, I'm on the back yoke, I started the back yoke, and then I was like, why does my scallop not line up? Like the front and the back, it should line up. Why do I have to? And I looked at the pattern, I was like, well, it's only off by 3, so maybe I just need to like do some finagling and I'll get it. And then I was like, but this pattern has been tested and many people have made this pattern. No one has mentioned this issue. So then I went back and looked at the pattern, and what happened was on the chart for the yoke, there is a red box around the part you're supposed to repeat, and then there's like an extra 3 at the end. And so because I had printed it in black and white and small, I remember reading about reading that there was a box there for the repeat the first time I read it through it, and then I totally forgot about it every single other time. And so I'd been repeating the whole thing instead of just the little repeat box. And so my thing was like very wide. And then I frogged it again and restarted it this morning, and now my scallops look so much better. And turns out when you follow the pattern correctly, there are less floats to carry in the back, which makes it easier. And so I'm working on that, and hopefully 4th time's the charm for this. Oh, and I've been keeping it in this Saint Laurent dust bag, super fancy, because I was watching the podcast by Wool Needle Hands, and she was talking about all these different project bags. And of course, when I watch stuff about new things, I'm like, ooh, I should buy some project bags. And then I realized that I've been hoarding small bags and containers of like things forever. So this is a dust bag from like the one expensive purse that I bought when I became an attending. Because I like maybe I'll show it in another video, but the clasp on this bag, it says YSL, and like the letters come up. It's like not a normal, like the letters go to the side and it opens. So I thought that was really cool. And it's like a beautiful shade of cobalt blue. And I had like gone to Morocco where I went to, I think it was like YSL's summer house garden where a lot of stuff was that color. So I was like obsessed with that color at the time. But I realized I have a ton of bags. So for example, I have this bag. This is, it's some sort of like fancy hand-dyed black silk. I bought it in Vietnam. I went to this, it was a store at this temple. We were like just waiting for some tour to start. The brand is Hanoi. And so it's a store at this temple, and they had this like video playing about how this is like hand-dyed and it takes like 40 days or something. And so I bought one for me and one for my mom. And then I realized because probably of my ADHD, I also like stationery. So I have a lot of pencil cases that could also work to hold things. So like I have this one. I don't know how old this is considering how dirty it looks. That could hold things. And these are like just the bags that I have in my office room. And I have a whole drawer of just other bags. This bag, which I bought to hold pencils, has compartments. Although after using it for a while, the two compartments, these two compartments, they're like things can slip through in the bottom, like, which I didn't realize when I bought it, but yeah. And then I have, of course, a ton of like these pouches that come with makeup and skincare things. Like they're like, buy this much money and get a free kit, and I would always buy that much to get the free kit. So I have a ton of like these little ones. So I have a ton of project bags. I don't need to buy more. Here's another from Sephora. There's so many. So I'm gonna slowly dig those out and use them as project bags. So currently, those are my 2 works in progress, which is very few for me. I usually have many works in progress. And I didn't think I was going to finish them by the end of January, so I was like, I can film this early. Oh, but I wanted to talk about some other yarns that I'd got in that Loves Craft order. So I also had bought this Cloudborn Highland roving yarn in lavender and in, I think, magenta. And I'm going to make some of those lotus star beanies because I'd made some for Christmas for my sister-in-law and her daughter and my other soon-to-be sister-in-law. And so I was going to make some ones for me and my daughter. So for my sister-in-law, I made her a black one with like the We Are Knitters marshmallow. And then for the daughter, I made it mostly the We Are Knitters marshmallow with black little lotuses. And so I'm thinking of doing something similar for me and my daughter. So magenta for me with lavender lotuses, and hers would be lavender with magenta lotuses. So we can be matching, but not super matching, you know? Because I still have pom-poms because I bought like a whole set. That yarn I got for $4.80, and I think it was originally like $16. And then I also bought a bunch of that baby llama yarn because I think it was like $3 or $4, originally like $20. So I got some in this colorway. It's called Spring Crocus. And then I also got some teal, which ended up being like light blue. It was, they called it teal. It was literally this color. And then I also had bought some in dark ivy, but when I got my order, they hadn't included either the Spring Crocus or the dark ivy. And then when I messaged them, they were out of the dark ivy. So I just got a ton of this color. So I do have plans for it. And then I recently received my order. I got this on, I was looking at deals again. I got this on Webs. This is also discontinued yarn. I bought a lot. This is Cloudborn Fibers Baby Alpaca fingering in oatmeal heather. My plan for this is that I'm gonna hold it double and use it to make the Arctic Light Sweater by Kika, who is doing a knit along in February. Originally I was just gonna do it with the baby alpaca because I thought maybe it was fuzzy enough to do without holding it with a strand of mohair, but then there was another sale. Oh my gosh, kind of embarrassing. There's another sale on Rowan Cashmere Haze, which is like, it's got like the same feel as like a kid silk mohair, but it's with cashmere. So I bought some of that. It's on its way. Hopefully it'll be here soon. And then while I was looking at that, I saw that there was another one that was on sale. It's called like Valley Hampton. It was a kid silk mohair, so I just bought some in gray. And I was like, I'll make something. I don't know what I'm making. I don't know. So my plans for this year, I have many plans. I think I'll be productive. We'll see. One that I have on my queue is the Owls by Kate Davies Designs. It's like a sweater where on the yoke there's like 3D owls and you can add eyeballs with buttons. It has been on my queue for many years. I do have the pattern already, so that's no excuse. I bought the yarn. I bought Picks Chroma Twisted Bulky in this. It's called like Cherry Fog. It's gray with like some reddish things in it. But I haven't caked the yarn, and so I think that's probably what's stopping me from starting. I'm gonna make the Arctic Light Sweater, which I just talked about with Kika. And then I saw that she just on her Instagram, she's been working on this like different textured pattern sweater, kind of like Ingrid, I guess, by Petite Knit, that kind of style. And I love hers so far because it had that, there's this stitch that I've been seeing on like Pinterest that looks like wheat. To me, it looks like wheat, but she has that in it, and I was like, oh, I want to make it. Okay, so that's one of the things I'm gonna make. With my baby llama yarn, the teal one, I want to make Hachi, which is a free pattern, and it's just a sweater with like the braid that goes like this. I've been really into, I think, more textured pieces now that I know that I can do lace after making my Let It Fall sweater in the Ginny cardigan. And so I'm trying to add, and then I also want to do more color work, so we'll see. That's on my queue. What else is on my queue? Sara by Sara Nordland. It's like a tank top with buttons in the back. I have a bunch of cotton yarn from We Are knitters left over from some other stuff I made last year. So I have all this like it's called hand painted, the colorway. It's just like a natural color with like these specks of really bright color. And I'd use some of it to make, I think, I don't remember what I bought it to make, what I was gonna make with it when I bought it, but I didn't make it. I think I switched the colors and made something else. And then I used some of it to make like a laundry basket for my daughter, but I still have some. So I think I have enough for a tank top. So I'm gonna make that. McHugh also has this, it's called Emmy's baby cardigan. It's like a crochet cardigan that has like a chevron pattern. And I have all of this fairy cake yarn that was also discontinued, super on sale. So I'm gonna make it with that because I feel like I need to use up all the baby colored yarn I have because I'm not gonna use it later. And she's not gonna be a baby forever. So that, and then so many plans. The drawing sweater, so it's a sport weight sweater. It's got like flowers on top, and then so it goes from like, the sample goes from like white on the collar, and there's like white flowers, and it starts to get like less, and then it turns into like just a solid color. And so I have a bunch of this yarn called Miss Crosby Hat Box. It's a sport weight yarn. I have like this purple color that I also bought a long time ago because it was on sale for very cheap, because it is also discontinued. What a theme. And then I was going to do the flowers in, I bought all this like sock yarn, the Saki, I think it's called. And I have like light gray, black. So I have a bunch of that, and I had caked some of it, but I caked it held double. And then I was trying to undo that held double thing and turn it back into like a single strand. And it was so hard because it just was so twisty. So if anyone has a good way to do that, please let me know. So I was like, I just need to use this as a sport weight then. I can't make it go back to fingering. And so I'm gonna use that for the flowers. And I think I have enough to do all of the flowers in like a light gray, but if I have to go to like a gray, it'll be a cool ombre effect. That's on the list. I don't have the pattern for that yet. I do have the pattern for the next one, which is Loom by Sara Nordland. And it is just a sweater with this beautiful like flower pattern yoke. And I was gonna make that in like a burgundy and then have the flowers be white. Kind of reminiscent of the sweater that I really liked that I had when I was younger. I don't even know where I got it from because I didn't buy it. Someone gave it to me. That was like red and white, red with like white Nordic-y yoke. And then I think I washed it and shrunk it because I'm gonna put it in the dryer, which is not what you're supposed to do. And then next I have Nordstrand, which is a free pattern. It's got like this Nordic pattern just kind of like all the way across the bust, kind of like flat, not like along with the yoke, it's just kind of straight across the arms. And I have this Juniper Moon from Stratus Yarn in Chestnut, which I also bought on sale because it's discontinued. I'm gonna do that with white. And then that yarn, I had actually knit almost an entire sweater on this pattern called Leslie, and it was like almost all the way done. I think I'd done the sleeves and I forgot, I think I was missing maybe a sleeve, and I looked at it and I was like, I don't want to wear this sweater because I didn't gauge it, so I think it was a little small. So I frogged the whole thing. Story of my life. What else is on my list? I'm gonna make the seamless baby hooded pullover. It's a free pattern. I have some Caron Simply Soft that I'm just gonna hold double. I had frogged. I'd made this, so it's left over actually from this sweater, the Weasley sweater, and I had made this cowl that was like this yarn plus the silver. It was like this as a solid shade, and then this held with this silver yarn, and then the silver as a like really thick cowl infinity scarf thing. I never wore it, so I frogged the whole thing, and I was like, oh, let's use this yarn for something else. So I'm gonna make that hooded baby pullover. I think I can just hold it double to make it bulky, and then it's a free pattern. And then I finally found a project for my Rowan True Silk yarn because I don't have enough for a sweater. I found this really pretty cardigan called Katie, and it has it's like just a plain like short sleeve cardigan, but then they crochet, that's knit. The cardigan is knit, and then there's a crochet lace border trim, which I think was cool. It'll be a combination of the knitting and the crocheting together. And it's kind of like summery, so I think it'd be good for the Rowan True Silk. And then my plan for this yarn, I was gonna make like a baby sweater, but I haven't decided what pattern. But I have 13 skeins of this because I was supposed to get the dark ivy and they were out. So I think with some of it, I'm gonna make the Magnolia Bloom cardigan, which has these beautiful flowers and like 3D bauble flowers on the yoke, which I think would look nice in that color. I still have more plans. I think I might be too ambitious for 2023, considering last year I made like maybe 4 things, but I also didn't really knit that much last year. It was not my hyperfixation at the time. My hyperfixation was like wallpapering all the walls in our house and home decor stuff. I have a Star Bright baby cardigan and hat. I'm probably not gonna make the hat. I'm just gonna make the cardigan. It's a little kid cardigan and it has these like petals almost, and then the rest is like moss or garter stitch, I think. And I'm gonna make that in this. I have all this leftover gold colored yarn from when I was making a Game of Thrones themed blanket, which I ended up only finishing. I finished the Stark panel, and I'd gotten halfway on the Lannister panel before I totally gave up and frogged it, slashed through the yarn I couldn't untangle away. And then I think I did a little bit of a Targaryen panel, but then I messed up on the dragon heads and then just gave up. And then Game of Thrones was over and the finale was super disappointing. And so I didn't finish it. I think I still have the Lannister panel somewhere. So I have all this gold yarn. So I'm gonna make this cardigan that has like the petals. I think it'll look like sun rays, which will be really cute. Also on my list is Sea Line, which is a drops pattern free. It is a tank top that starts white and then it goes white and blue and then it goes blue. It has buttons on the back. And then with that, I'm gonna use the cotton yarn that I have left over from my various We Are the Knitter projects. And then, wow, I still have more. I have like 4 more other projects. One is a sweater called People. And it is, it's just like a sweater that's got like some cabling stuff on the front. And then for that, I am using the yarn Downton Abbey Matthew. It is based on Downton Abbey, the show. Never watched it, bought the yarn because it was on sale. It was getting discontinued, so it was on sale, so I bought a lot of it. And I'd actually made this sweater called Ease. It's like a pullover with like a little tie at the neck, but I didn't gauge swatch and I didn't know what I was doing, so then this neck part was like super loose because I don't think I switched to a smaller needle, and it was just like really baggy, and so like even if I wore a t-shirt you could see the t-shirt because it was so baggy. And so I frogged the whole sweater, even though it's like it was a finished sweater. I mean, finished in the sense that I had woven in the ends. I didn't know about blocking when I made that sweater, so was not blocked or anything, but finished. I frogged the whole thing. So I have all this yarn, so I'm gonna make that People sweater with the cables, which I think will look nice with the tweed pattern. Next, I have Candlestick, which is a kid sweater. It's a raglan with like stripes here. It's kind of like sporty baseball-y, which my plan is to make in like blue and gold because that's the colors of Berkeley, which is where I went to school, and also the Golden State Warriors, which is kind of like our home basketball team. I'm not a big sports person. I call them the GSWs, which is not what anybody calls them. Yeah. Anyways, and then I also have, I also bought a bunch of yarn from Knit Picks Preciosa Tonal worsted in Summer Sky. It's like this really pretty bluish green with white flecks kind of one. And I found this pattern called Winter Frill because I was looking for a pattern with like a ruffle in it because I thought they looked really cool. And then I was saving all of these different ruffle patterns, and then I was like, oh, there's a free one. I should just use that. I should use the free one. So I'm gonna make that. And then last but not least, I have a plan for another like summer top called Straw Sand Top by Sara. And she does it in like tan and white because it's supposed to look like the beach with waves and stuff. So I'm gonna do it with the colors I have, which are like natural color and then like a dark blue. And it's kind of like a lacy, wavy summer tank top. So those are all the plans I have in terms of patterns I'm gonna make in 2023. It's ambitious. So I already started a bundle on my Ravelry of 2024 things I want to make. And then if I don't finish them, I'll just move them over to that bundle. And then at some point, I actually want to remake. So this sweater I bought, but I want to make it because I don't really like their yarn choice. The red part is made with this like fuzzy yarn. I don't know if you can see, but there's like little fuzzes that come off of it. And then I feel like it overpowers the pink. Also, it's like slowly falling apart. I did buy it on, I bought it either on ThreadUp, so secondhand, or like Rent the Runway. And so I had to fix some of it was like starting to unravel, so I had to fix it. But I was thinking if I could figure out how to reverse engineer this sweater, then, you know, make sweaters from patterns and reverse engineer a sweater like this. And then I would reverse engineer a sweater from a picture. So I would my plan is to reverse engineer the Enid sweater from the show Wednesday, that like pink mohairy one. I took screenshots of the pictures of the actual sweater. And I was like, I can just count the stitches on the screenshot and then I can make it. If I've made enough sweaters, I'll kind of like know how sweaters work. And then from then I can go into designing sweaters. That would be cool. Yeah, so those are my plans, and that is how my January has shaped up. I did go back to work from maternity leave in January, but really just administrative stuff, so not real any like big time commitments, just some meetings here and there. So we'll see how my time goes, although sometimes I have time to knit at work. We'll see. Yeah, so I'm happy to have finished my longest whip ever, 10 years. And my whip that it probably cast on this sweater like 10 times to make. And this turned out so well. Before I blocked it, it looked so bumpy and you couldn't tell there were owls, and I was kind of sad. And then I blocked it and I was like, oh wow, it's beautiful. Turns out you really do need to block things. Yeah, so those are my plans. Specifically for February though, I want to finish the Anker sweater that is my work in progress, the Robinia Sweater, and then work on that Arctic Light sweater. Once I get the yarn, it's still in the mail. And then already like I want to make that wishbone sweater that Kika released because it looks beautiful. Maybe I'll make that in that gray yarn I have. And then whenever she releases that textured sweater, I also want to make that. Yeah, so those are my plans. But I was looking through my stash on my wall, and I think I have made plans for the majority of my yarns. Not so much the acrylic ones. I'm gonna save those for when I made more sweaters for my daughter. But for the most part, I think for most of the yarn, I have plans for them, which is a huge improvement because before they were just there for me to look at, and I bought them because I thought they were pretty and I didn't even know what a sweater weight amount of yarn was, so it's kind of hard figuring out what I can make with the yarn I have. But yeah, those are my projects. I'm trying to see if I also had made this French macaroon sweater for my daughter that's red and black, and I think I showed in another video, but I've already gifted that to someone else in our community who's having a baby, and so I don't have that anymore. Yeah, so those are my plans for January. And I'll check back in February and see how far I've gotten. February's a short month, so I don't know how much I'm going to finish. And I have some ideas of videos that I want to release in between then. And I think as long as I don't force myself to edit them all fancy, they'll happen. Otherwise, I think I'm going to get stuck and not do them at all. Oh, I forgot to mention. I was trying to make leather tags for my stuff because I thought it'd be cool to have like a label. So I was trying to make it on my Cricut, and so far fails. Just, it hasn't worked. So I'll get back to you on that once I figure out what I'm doing. Yeah, so, you know, let me know if you know a way to unwind yarn that you've wound held double so that they can become their own single strands again. That is easy, and because I feel like it just gets twisted and twisted on itself, and then I'm just trying to untwist them and it doesn't work. And then I also have a bunch of yarn that was fingering, and I made a bunch of balls of it held triple, And then some of it is with a different color yarn. They did not mix well, and so that's just taking up space. May just have to donate or toss that yarn. I don't know. It's been there for so long. There's also a Downton Abbey on sale yarn. I don't even know how much I bought, so if I do unravel it, do I have enough for a sweater? I don't know. I also don't really like the color. It's like this mauve. Not a fan. So yeah, let me know if you have a good way of unwinding that and how your projects are going. And yeah, I think that's it. All right, toodles.